Today's video has been sponsored by Prosperous Universe, a massively multiplayer online space trading simulation that you can play for free in your web browser. Start running a space company where you can set up raw material production, or find profitable trade routes, or dabble in stocks, currencies, and commodities. Find your own niche to exploit in the single, persistent online world where everything is player-driven. All of the tradable materials are made, purchased, or sold from or to other players, as are the cargo vessels used to ship it all around. Engage in meta gameplay and get into player alliances that support each other, or get into trade wars to corner a market. You can play at your own pace with no pressure to log on every day, and free players can enjoy the game for as long as they want. If you really love the game and want more out of it, then the Pro License subscription is available. So if you're the sort of person who enjoys optimizing production, problem solving, or just seeing a line go up, then try out Prosperous Universe today at the links below in the description and pinned comment.
From the premiere of Star Trek The Next Generation in 1987 to the cancellation of Stargate Universe in 2011, stretched a golden age of science fiction TV. From the whole 90s era of Star Trek to Babylon 5 to Farscape, Firefly and Battlestar Galactica, for over 20 years there was scarcely a week where high-quality science fiction was not airing on TV. All of these shows are seminal works that there have been numerous attempts to live up to since, but I think there's one franchise that defines this golden age of sci-fi TV better than any other. I'm Daniel Orritt, I'm a career science fiction writer and analyst, and creator of the award-winning audio drama The SOJOURN, and I'm here to tell you why nobody ever built a world better than Stargate. Before we get into its world building, let's talk about the key word I would associate above all else when it comes to the Stargate IP: consistency. In my opinion, I would say there are certainly shows from this golden age that reach greater heights of storytelling than Stargate did. I think if asked for the best individual shows or moments from this era, I'd be drawn towards masterworks like RDM Battlestar Galactica and Deep Space Nine, but what's crucially impressive about Stargate is that it maintains a level of quality far above average across an absolutely vast amount of content. It's perfectly normal in this era for shows to have 27-episode seasons, some of which will be excellent, but most of which will be derived from spec scripts, sent in by up-and-coming writers and largely intended to be filler. These problem-of-the-week episodes are a definitional part of this era of sci-fi TV, and they can often be brilliantly executed storytelling vignettes, using their self-contained nature to create memorable and thematically charged short stories. But for every Who Watches the Watchers or Passing Through Gethsemane, there are often about 10 Move-Along Homes or Jeremiah Crichtons. Stargate, however, is very, very good at Problem of the Week. Despite the enormity of the franchise, the gaps between major arc content simply breeze by on the sheer strength of these standalone episodes. With precious few exceptions, the IP reliably beats the odds on populating 20-plus episode seasons with great and memorable stories, elevated by excellent casts of characters and consistently snappy and charming writing. This creates a much more organic flow for the IP. It's not the relentless forward motion of a more modern, fully serialized show, but neither is it the aggravating feeling of having to sit through yet another Babylon 5 episode about a crazy person in Down Below who's possessed by a space rock before you can get to the good stuff. This balanced approach of being comfortably episodic, consistently entertaining, and driven forward by developing big-picture stakes and character work pairs perfectly with Stargate's light-hearted tone, which always remains amiable, accessible, and fun, without ever sacrificing serious intentionality. I think Stargate proves that being light-hearted does not necessarily mean choosing not to take yourself seriously as a story, as the shows effortlessly weave together charming fun with mature and sober drama, built upon thoughtful thematic structuring. But this brings us to the one thing that makes every individual Stargate episode worth watching: the world building. And not only world building as we normally know it, because Stargate has something that to this day no other major IP has. Something I'd absolutely say is its greatest strength and its unique selling point as a franchise: cumulative world building. In Stargate, there is no confused viewpoint character who needs the world explained to them retroactively so it can be exposited to the audience. Because in Stargate, the human race, the teal'c, are the viewpoint character, writ large. Humanity steps through the gate into a grand and rich setting spread across multiple galaxies, and we learn all of the politics and technology and history in real time, just as the humans do. And as every episode of Stargate is set in the year in which it aired, We get to watch this developing process play out live across 17 seasons of TV and 3 movies. From a 1990s US Air Force team all the way to a fleet of intergalactic warships, we watch every moment of the teal'c's rise to the mantle of the Fifth Race. In Star Wars, you can read a sourcebook to learn about the power systems of a Star Destroyer. In Stargate, you can look at the Naquadah reactors bolstering power on Atlantis and remember the SG-1 episode in which those reactors were first developed and used, or earlier to the episode where Naquadah reactor technology was first acquired by the teal'c, or earlier again to the episode where they secured the trinium alloy used in its casing, or even earlier still to the original discovery of Naquadah in the first movie and its subsequent examination and stockpiling in the show. We don't need to look up the lore of Stargate, we were there. To this day, I can't think of any other show that provides this experience. In addition to being a consistently gripping and entertaining sci-fi show with building stakes and increasingly grand story arcs, Stargate also plays out more like the experience of playing through an XCOM game or similar, watching as we progress not only along the arc of the narrative, but through the widening circle of context and understanding of the universe the teal'c inhabit, and up the tech tree they are forever climbing to increase their power to survive and to effect change within that setting. Even the characters increase in rank as new characters are introduced beneath them, and the operations of Stargate Command expand and progress. Nothing is static. Stargate is also unafraid to include realistic hurdles and setbacks in this development. As early as the 15th episode of SG-1, the teal'c lose their first off-world base and learn the problem associated with only having gate addresses gleaned from the Abydos cartouche, as of course this means they only know of gate worlds the Goa'uld already know of. It's only once they secure other sources of gate addresses that off-world infrastructure becomes viable, and there are other similar setbacks in their development of combat spacecraft, such as the X-301 incident, or the many difficulties in using Naquadria to bootstrap hyperdrive development. These only serve to make it even more triumphantly satisfying when after 6 years of real-time struggle and growth, we finally see the Prometheus lift out of that dry dock in Nevada. A giant flying symbol of everything the teal'c have learned and developed and iterated upon, now allowing them to interact with the galaxy on an even footing with the other nations that inhabit it. Even small elements of visual world building are maintained to a standard of excellence. I'm reminded of how, when we finally see the foot soldiers of the Ori, they wield the Alteran staff weapons, of which the familiar Goa'uld staff weapon is so clearly derivative, even having wrist stunners of similar shape to the Zat'nik'tel holster, and their own original version of transport rings. After many years of seeing the pale imitations of the Goa'uld, we now see the real deal, and everything we've slowly learned about the Goa'uld as a race of parasitic scavengers is visually vindicated. The same philosophy of cumulative world building is also applied to the Gate itself, with the Stargate IP slowly building out a doggedly consistent rulebook of wormhole physics in its setting. You can bet that every time we learn anything about how the Gate works, it will be remembered and integrated or played upon in future episodes. Absolute classic episodes like 48 Hours, A Matter of Time, 1969, 38 Minutes, and many more all use the established mechanics of how the Gate functions to generate highly imaginative and exciting survival stories and races against time. Again, no viewer will ever find themselves needing to read a lore book to find out what happens if you walk into an incoming wormhole, or how long a gate can remain active, or what loopholes exist to get around that limit. All of these rules are not only clearly exposited to the audience, but often have entire episodes built around them, to make those rules as memorable as possible. Stargate once again makes its fastidious commitment to continuity into its greatest strength. The mystery of the Ancients and the Gate network itself is also carefully spread with tremendous restraint across all 10 seasons of SG-1. In the classic Season 1 episode The Torment of Tantalus, we get a tiny momentary glimpse of the bigger picture, as we learn of the alliance of 4 great races and some of the events that may have led to the development of the Gate network and the rise of the Goa'uld Empire, only to have this insight cruelly snatched away from us before the characters can even translate most of it, as Heliopolis collapses into the ocean. Stargate makes you wait, and keeps the mysteries that comprise the past of its setting hidden and slowly unfolding. It takes 3 seasons for us to get the first appearance of an Ancient and the concept of Ascension, though it will take another 3 seasons before either of those things are positively identified as such. By the 10th season, the teal'c are doing battle with the great fraternal enemy of the Ancients themselves, the Ori, as well as occupying the lost city of the Ancients as they struggle on a second front in the Pegasus Galaxy against the Ancients' final conquerors, the Wraith. A gradual scaling of power and scope from 8 Air Force guys in an Aberdonian desert, all the way to striking down the gods and demons who defeated the gate builders themselves, without it ever feeling jarring or unnatural. As I said at the start, I think if forced to pick a favourite sci-fi show of all time, on the strength of its individual storytelling, there are others that might take the win. But taken as a complete body of work, I think Stargate may truly be the best science fiction IP of all time. No other franchise maintains such a consistent level of excellence, remains so reliably accessible and entertaining, or makes better use of its meticulous world building, of which the viewer has a front row seat unlike anything any other franchise can offer. If for some reason you've got to the end of this video without having queued up the original movie on Netflix, either for a rewatch or for the first time, then allow me to shut up so you can go and do that. Dial it up, Walter. This is Daniel from Spacedock, signing off.
You can support Spacedock by joining our Patreon, where you can get our frigate, fighter and carrier design reference books, as well as 1 week early access to upcoming videos. Thanks to our supporters, and thank you for watching.